Welcome to the remote video session 2 of Information System subject of the BIT degree program. In this particular session, we will be discussing about business organizations, right? So before moving to the topic, small notice, since I am just recording it from my home environment, the quality of the audio will be a little bit low, so you just have to bear with me. Okay, so let's see what are the objectives that we are going to cover in this particular topic. So we'll be discussing what is meant by organization, what is meant by business organization, then what is the nature of business environment, what is meant by competitive advantage, then concepts related to business organizations like management hierarchy, organizational structure, organizational culture. So we'll be discussing those things as well. And finally, we will be discussing about what are the possible business strategies and business tactics, right? So we'll be discussing somehow how to do some business analysis as well, because in order to come up with some business strategies, first you have to do some analysis, right? So we'll be discussing SWOT analysis and Porter's Phi Force Analysis under that, right? So again, I will be using your handbook itself because you already have the handbook with you, rather than the separate presentation. I will be using the handbook itself. Okay, right. So let's dig into the subject. So let's try to understand what is meant by organization first. So you can understand organization by concentrating on these features. Every organization has an objective or set of objectives. Every organization has some formal structure, and every organization will have a management hierarchy. Then there will be funding for that organization, and the organization will be having some resources like employees or any other physical resources as well. So collection of these things is called organization. So if you want to just define what is mean by organization, it's a formal entity that has some resources and funding to achieve some specified objectives is called a organization, right? Okay, so we can identify two type of organizations, that is profit organization, or we can call it business organizations, and non-profit organizations, right? So those are the two type of organizations. The only difference is profit organization or business organizations, one of the objective is make profit too, but non-profit organizations, their only objective is serving the society, right? So they are not interested in making profit, right? So in this particular session we will be concentrating on business organizations because we are more interested in identifying what are the different type of information systems that we can use for business organizations. So that we will be discussing later topic. Here we are going to discuss only about or understand about how business operate and what are the concepts related to business organizations, right? Right. So when it comes to business organizations, there are three key objectives, that is survive, make profit, serve the society, right? But when it comes to non-profit organization, it is basically, of course, it's easier for them to survive because they are funded, and of course they have to serve the society. So the make profit is not their part of their objectives. Okay. Right. So let's try to understand what is meant by business organization. So we can understand business organization by understanding these key concepts related to business organizations. So every business organization has a objective or set of objectives which are usually covered under vision and mission statements as well. But objectives will be a little bit more broader than just the things mentioned in your vision and mission. Right. Then the management hierarchy. Every organization will have a management hierarchy. Every business organization will have organizational structure. Then there will be some business strategies implemented by these business organizations. Then another important concept is value chain, and another one is supply chain. Then organization culture. So we will be discussing these concepts. So once we are done with this discussing these concepts, we will be able to understand what is meant by business organization and how they are operating, right? Right. So as we already discussed, so every business organization has three main objectives: survive, make profit, serve the society. Right? So survive means basically financially your revenue is either equal to cost or bigger than cost. So in temporary periods your cost might go beyond revenue, but in long term, in general, your revenue must be higher than the cost. So then we say you find our business is survived. Then every business is trying to make profit, right? So the basic formula for profit is revenue minus cost. So every business will try to increase their profit as well. Uh, so that is second objective. Third objective is serve the society, right? So it is not just doing some charity works or whatever, right? If you are providing a very good quality product or service, that is also serving the society. If you provide product and service at a lower price than the competitors, that is so assume that it's in very good quality, that is also serving the society, right? Then of course you can provide some employee opportunities, right? So that is also serving the society, right? So there's big unemployment issues in a lot of countries. Then of course you can do some charity works as well, so that is also serving the society. But that is not the only component of the serving the society. All these are also serving the society. Right, now let's see what are the different type of businesses. So we can categorize businesses into product oriented and service oriented. So product oriented means that business organizations involve manufacturing and distributing some sort of a product. Maybe some examples: Damro, say Maliban, right? So Milko. So those are some product oriented businesses. So they involve in some sort of a product. Then service oriented businesses, they are not manufacturing any product, they are just providing some service to the customers, like banks, hospitals, schools, trading like wholesale or retail trading, even small businesses like saloon, right? So those are also serving the society, right? That so basically providing service to the customers. So those are also service oriented businesses. So we have the product oriented businesses as well as service oriented businesses. Both are businesses. Okay. Right, now let's try to understand the business environment. So we can understand the business environment as two components: what is known as the internal environment, external environment. So the key components of the internal environment is the owner or the owners, the management, and the staff members. So those three types of people are part of the internal environment of the business organization. The external environment involves customers, suppliers, right, competitors, even banks, government, or any other interested groups outside the business organization. Is they are part of the external environment. So basically, business is collection of internal environment and external environment. So the business itself is basically internal environment, but business has to um, collaborate or uh, work with external factors as well, like customers, suppliers, etc. Right, now let's try to understand the nature of business. Right, so we are discussing about the free market to open economy. So under open economy, how business will operate. So there are key concepts related to that, that is open, competitive, dynamic. Right, so in under open economy, any business can start their business as long as they have the capital and other relevant things. So that is the openness, right? Then competitive, right? So every business will try to compete with other. So that is the competitive nature, that is part and parcel of modern business, right? Then dynamicity, because of this openness, high competition, the business environment is going to be very dynamic. So that is why business environment is really challenging, really interesting, right? It's not very boring environment like some of the government institute, etc. Private sector business are really dynamic entities. Okay, right. So let's try to understand what is meant by competitive advantage, right? So every business organization, they are in sort of a competition, right? So you will be having your own customers, your competitors will be having their own customers. So you will try to compete with others to attract their customers, and at the same time, they will be trying to attract your customers. So that is a competition, right? So some people, some businesses will be the winners, some businesses will be losers. So in order to be a winner, say my business needs some competitive advantage over the others, then only I can be a successful business, or my business organization is going to be successful business organization, right? So every business is looking for those, that competitive advantage to have the edge over the others, right? And we will be discussing those things later when it comes to business strategy formulation, right? So now let's move on to flows in process and flows of business organization. So when it comes to business organization, there will be some flows going through, right? Obviously the material flow will be there, especially if it is a product oriented organization. There will be monetary flows, so the money flow, right? So you will be getting some money as part of capital or investment, or maybe your revenue, other revenue. Then there will be some outflows like your expenses, cost, and etc. Then there will be material flows also coming in, like raw materials going out as finished goods, right? Then there will be information flows also. So you will be getting some information about market, environment, etc. And you will also have to give some information back to the environment to do some marketing, etc. Then there will be some people flow as well, because the employees will be coming from outside, and also employees can leave out of your organization as well. So we are more interested about the information flow. Why? Information systems are basically managing the information flow, but not only the information flow, the information systems will be keeping track of other flows as well, like monetary flows. That is why we have the financial or accounting systems. Material flows, that is why we have the inventory systems, etc. So, and also people related things, we will be having HR management system, payroll systems, leave management systems, etc. So information systems will be tackling or tracking all these flows, right? So that is very important to understand, that there are different flows, and information systems will be tracking all these flows, right? So now let's move on to another topic related to business, that is the concept of value addition, right? So every business, there will be some input, there will be some output. What the business does is add value to the input, so that the output has more value than the input. So that is why you can generate some profit, right? So if there is no value addition, you will not be able to sell it at a higher price than the cost of your raw materials and other operational cost, right? So every business try to add value to the in the business process, right? So it's not only for be a product, it is both product and services. Obviously you can see that for a product, say let's say something like a biscuit manufacturing factory. So the input will be things like flour, sugar, oil, etc. The output will be different type of biscuits, right? So you're adding value to that, and that is why you can sell your biscuit at a higher price than the cost of your raw material, right? So same applied for the services as well. For example, say let's take a very simple example. Say you are having a beauty salon or something like that. So people will be coming into your salon, right? So you will be doing whatever, the haircut or whatever. When the people go out of your salon, they should feel like, okay, there is a value addition for me, right? I'm not now in a better shape than earlier. So then only, if the customer feel like that, we say that okay, we have add value to the customer. So likewise, so the value addition is important for both product and service businesses. Okay, now let's move on to what are the different type of business activities. So So we can subdivide business activities into two categories, those that is the primary business activities and supporting business activities. So the primary business activities are the business activities directly related to the value or the supply chain, right? You can easily understand that, or you can, it's very obvious when it comes to product oriented businesses. That is basically inbound logistics, the things related to purchasing, operations, so the things related to the manufacturing, then outbound logistics, things related to selling like custom order processing, shipment, etc. Then there will be some other things related to the primary value chain like marketing, sales, customer support, etc. So those activities are called primary business activities because these activities directly related to the value chain or supply chain, right? Then we have the supporting activities. So supporting activities are providing the support to the other primary business activities like HR management, finance, marketing. So those are and administration. So those activities are called supporting activities. So those are also very important for the smooth operation of the business, and sometimes those are some regulatory uh, object requirements like having fine accounts and etc. Otherwise the government is uh, going to go after you because those are some statutory requirements, right? So both are important, the primary activities and supporting activities. Okay, right. Now let's try to understand another concept related to business organizations, that is what is known as the business management hierarchy. Every business organization has this management hierarchy. So it's a hierarchy. So there are different layers. So the topmost layer is called strategic management or top management. So usually only one or maybe sometimes two people will be involved in top management or the strategic management. So the typical roles involve uh, managing director, uh, CEO or the chief executive officer, or sometimes a chairman. So those kind of roles will be part of strategic management. So they will be heavily involved in taking strategic decisions or long-term decisions, right? And also they will be uh, interacting more and more with external entities like business partners, government, etc. Right? Then we have the tactical managers or the middle managers. They are the people who are concentrating or running the different business units like finance unit or finance section, HR section, marketing section, administrative department, etc. So those are the people. Those are the basically managers of those units like HR manager, marketing manager, finance manager, etc. So those people are called tactical managers. So they will be taking mostly the mid-term decision making, and also they will be uh, working with both external and internal people sort of a proportionate way, right? Then we have the operational or the first line managers. They are the people who are doing day-to-day management tasks of all the operational management tasks. So the people like uh, branch managers, center managers, sometimes the line managers. So those are the operational managers. So they are more concentrate on internal people, managing internal people, and also the operational managers will be taking a lot of short-term decision making like day-to-day decisions. Okay, so those are the three layers of management or the management hierarchy, right? Now let's move on to some other concepts, that is organizational structure, right? So organizational structure is something related to the business management hierarchy, but this is basically when we say organizational structure, we consider entire organization, how they are structured, right? How they are structured. There are different organizational structures suit for different businesses, right? So we will be discussing some common organizational structures, some popular organizational structures that we can identify, right? So the first one we are going to discuss is hierarchical organizational structure. So this is the traditional structure, and still this is the most popular structure. It's a hierarchy of people. Like in the top, you will be having some strategic management people, like managing director or CEO, people like that. Then you will be having tactical managers under different uh, functional units like finance unit or the finance department, HR department, marketing department, etc. And they will be having their own managers. Then under those units, there will be other operational staff. So that is, if you have something like that, that is a traditional hierarchical organizational structure. So hierarchical organization structure has a very good control, but this is not uh, going to support or the suit for all the situations. There are situations this structure is little bit more actually more rigid than expected, right? So therefore, we are now trying to move from hierarchical structures to some other structures as well, a little bit less rigid, more flexible structures as well, depending on different situations, right? Right. So let's see some other organizational structures. Another organizational structure is, other than this hierarchical structure, is project organizational structure. In project organizational structures, there are projects running on. Of course, you have the top management and functional organizations separately. Uh, so other than those two entities, we have different project running, right? So each project will be having project manager, and under project manager there will be people working for that. These functional groups will be supporting the projects, right? So that structure is called project organizational structure. So this is heavily used, or this is suitable when there are project oriented business organizations like software development companies, civil engineering companies, right, or businesses. So these kind of organizations prefer to have project organizational structure. Right. Then we have team organizational structure, which is somewhat similar to the project organization, but rather than saying project, we call them teams. Right. So, the why we have the team organization structure is, in some cases people feel like this hierarchical structure is too rigid, right? So in order to get some flexibility, some organizations prefer to have team organizational structures, because when a person is saying that I am a member of team, that feeling is more liberal than saying that I am under this particular manager, right? Because in team, most of the time what we are having is not the managers, what we have is team leaders, right? So it's, so you know that when it comes to sports, we have teams, right? So why we like to have involved in sports? Because it's a lot of fun, right? So that mentality can be used when it comes to business organizations as well. So when someone says that I'm part of this particular team, that is more natural feeling than saying that I am under this particular manager. Okay, so that is why some organizations prefer to have team organizational structure, that will make that flattening of the organization, so make it more uh, agile and flexible. Right. Then we can combine the team organizational structure or project organization structure with hierarchical structure to have a good combination of flexibility and control. So that is called matrix or multidimensional organizational structure. In matrix structure, we can apply it to the project structure or team structure. So this is a matrix for project. This is matrix structure for team, right? So in that case, what happens is, let's take the project matrix structure. You have those cross function, those specific organizational units like HR, finance, etc. But at the same time, parallelly, project runs, right? So each project will be lead by project manager. Separate project managers will be there. Each project will be having persons from different uh, departments as well. And if you take a software engineer working for a software project, of course he has to report to the project manager, at the same time he have to report the head of the production or the head of the engineering. So like that is how it works. So when you are done with this project, that engineer might be assigned to another project. Then he is still reporting to the project the head of the department. At the same time, now he is reporting to a different project manager because now he is in the project C, right? So that is how you understand matrix organizational structure. Right. So the next concept that we are going to discuss is organizational culture. So organizational culture means basically the values, ethics, common behaviors, etc. So the collection of those things is called organizational culture. So every organization try to build a very good culture, right? But the reality is the organizational culture will be a mixture of good and bad things, right? So let's see what are the attributes or the features of good organizational culture. So basically, if your majority of your employees have positive attitude, that is a good feature for the culture. Then if your employees are fairly flexible, agile, that is also part of the good culture. If they are highly collaborative, if they are very friendly, if they are willing to change, so those are features of a good culture. So if you see these things, we can say that okay, you are having a very good organization culture, right? So every business try to build a good culture, positive culture, because then it's much easier for the business to proceed, and also the customers will be happy, right? So now we are going to discuss another concept related to organizations, that is organizational change, right? So you may have heard the phrase saying that change is a pain. Of course change is a pain, but there are situations that change is a worth pain, right? So every organization try to keep change, keep adapt to the situations, keep adapt to the environment, so that they have a better competitive advantage or better situations to serve the customers more and more and make more and more profit, right? So change is a good thing in most of the cases, but there are situations introducing these change is little bit difficult in certain, especially when it comes to a organization culture where there's a resistance to the change. So therefore, when it comes to implementing some changes, we have to do it in a very delicate manner, right? So the Levine's change model is an attempt to formalize the approach of doing this managing these changes, right? So in his model he came up with three stages: unfreezing, that is where you plan out and also you inform the relevant people and get their opinions, etc. as well on the changes. Then you have to execute it, that is called the moving part, right? Introduce those changes to the organization. Then of course you have to operate on according to the new situations, and also you have to do uh, some monitoring and reviewing, etc. about the changes that we have implemented. So that is called refreezing, right? So that is Levin's change model of implementing some changes to the or introducing changes to the organization. So, so the Levins also came up with two type of forces called driving forces and restraining forces. So the driving forces means basically the factors, so the people who are conducive or supportive to the change. So they are the people, usually the people who are naturally willing to change. They are the people who are looking for some opportunities in the changes, and also they are the people who like to change, accept some challenges, right? Because every time change is present in some sort of a challenge. Then there are restraining forces. So those are the people who are reluctant to change, opposed to change. So there can be a lot of reasons, like their fear of job loss, they are uncomfortable for the about the change, they don't trust the management or the other people who are introducing change, etc. So basically we have to manage these things. Basically we have to use the driving force to somehow tackle the restraining forces, okay? Right. So the next subtopic is things that related to the organization is organization learning. So now we are living in the information era, and actually now we are moving to the knowledge era. So now more and more businesses are relying on the knowledge for the survival and of course the success of their business. Therefore, it's very important you have a very good culture or the very good learning culture in the organizations. So that means your employees are willing to learn new things, they are willing to improve things, they are always willing to improve their knowledge and other things. So that culture is, so that part of that culture is called organizational learning. Then only you are keep on increasing your productivity, you are keep on increasing the customer satisfaction, right? So then it is going to help build the business to a success. So that is called organizational learning. So in under information systems we will be discussing some information systems also, like knowledge management system, etc. We can get the help of those things also for the organizational learning, right? Right, now we are moving to the latter part of our topics, that is the business strategy formulation, right? So every business, as we discussed earlier, every business must have some competitive advantage. Those people who are having the competitive advantage are going to be the winners, others are going to be the losers. So in order to have that advantage, uh, you need to have a business strategy, right? So basically strategy is plan of actions designed to achieve long-term or overall aim, right? So the strategy will make sure that if your strategy is proper, uh, it will make that at the end you will be the winner, right? So therefore it's very important to have the best strategy for the business that you are working on, right? Right. So formulating a business strategy is not a very straightforward thing. It's a very serious thing. So basically, the most of the time, the senior managers or the strategic managers involved in formulating these business strategies. So, so the first thing you have to do is analyze your business environment. Then only you can come up with the business strategy which is better suited for you, right? So therefore, first we are going to understand how to do that business analysis, right? So there are different techniques that we can use, but we are going to discuss two of the most popular approaches in the business environments, that is SWOT analysis and Potter's Phi Force analysis. So let's take the first one, the SWOT analysis. Right. In SWOT analysis, basically what we try to do is we try to understand strength. So SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we try to understand what are those for, or what are the what are our positions, our business positions when it comes to those four factors. So when it comes to those factors, strengths and weaknesses are internal things to the business. Opportunities and threats are external things to the, or those are the coming from the environment, right? Again, strength and opportunities are positive things, weakness and threats are negative things. So these are the internal things, these are the external things, these are the positive things, positive internal thing, positive external thing, negative internal thing, that is weakness, negative external things, those are the threats. So every business, so when we try to come up with some strategies for the business, first we analyze in for our business what are the strengths, for our business what are the weaknesses we are having, for what our business what are the opportunities available in the environment, for our business what are the threats coming from the environment. So we have to come up with list of possible uh, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So it depends on your particular business organization. So what we have mentioned here is basically some typical strengths, typical weaknesses. So all those strengths will not be for they are for a particular organization, right? All those weaknesses may not be there for a particular organization, but we have to identify what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are our opportunities, what are the threats available to our particular organization. So these are some typical things. Like strengths can be you have a very good reputation, your products or services have very high quality, right? So you have very competent employees. So those are typical strengths. So your organization will have maybe all of those, or maybe just few of those. Then weaknesses are typically if you have very bad image to the external customers, your products are or the service are of low quality, right? Your employees are incompetent, they are not very quality oriented employees, so you are lacking some capital or investments. So those are weaknesses, right? Some typical opportunities are if there are some new market opportunities, the economy is growing, that means you can sell more and more. The new technologies are emerging where you can exploit, right? So those are some typical opportunities. You may not be having all the opportunities, but your business may be having some of those opportunities. You have to just list down what are the opportunities you are having. Similarly, you will be having some threats from the environment also. These are some typical threats like economic issues in the country, new competitors uh, come into the business, the some adverse government policies for the business environment. So those are some possible threats. So your business organization has to come up with a list of what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats you are having. So that analysis will help us to come up with the best strategy for the business. Right. So now we are moving to another technique of business analysis, that is Potter's Phi Force Analysis. In Potter's Phi Force Analysis, what we do is we identify 5 market forces, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what are those market forces? Bargaining power of the supplier, threat of new entrants, bargaining power of the customers, threat of substitute product, and rivalry among competitors. So basically, if these competitive forces are high, we don't like much. So we prefer to have a low factors for these low values for these factors, but there are situations some of these factors will be high. In that case, when we are formulating strategy, we will try to formulate strategy such that it will be lower in the factors in the future, right? So most of these factors are self-explanatory. So we have given some examples as well. Basic bargaining power of supplier means uh, will the supplier try to bargain with you when they are selling their raw materials or whatever. So basically the bargaining power of the supplier will be high if they have more and more opportunities to sell their raw materials, right? Because when there are so many people willing to buy, they will bargain with you, right? So, so for your business, maybe bargaining power of the supplier will be high, or maybe it will be low. So similarly, you will be able to understand other factors like bargaining power of the customer, threat of new entry, that is the possibility of a new business coming into your the business area. Then threat of substitute product, so that is another business coming with a substitute product, not with the exact product, right? Then the rivalry among the competitors, right? So extent of rivalry among the competitive businesses, right? So those are called 5 forces, right? So we have to analyze which force is high, which force is low. Then when it comes to strategy formulation, we can come up with strategies to lower those high forces, right? So that is how, so once we do those analysis, we are in a better position to come up with or identify what are the best strategies for our business. Okay, right? So let's see some common or typical strategies. So a particular business organization will not uh, use all these strategies. So it will be picking the strategies or set of strategies, so just 1 or 2 strategies which are best suited for their situation, right? So let's see what are the typical strategies. So the first strategy is called quality leadership. So quality leadership means basically you try to become the leader according to the quality. So that means you have to come up with the best quality compared to your competitors. Then those people who are going for or who are looking for the best quality has to come to you, because you are the business having that best quality product or the service. So that is called quality leadership. So there are some businesses like Toyota, Google, Apple, they try to give the best quality product or services. So another strategy is called product differentiation. So product differentiation means basically your product or service is unique. So it has some unique features which your competitors don't have. Then if someone is looking for those unique features, or if someone likes those unique features, that customer is always coming to you, right? So that is a business strategy called product differentiation. Then there's another strategy called cost leadership. Cost leadership, what we do is we try to sell our product or service at the lowest possible price. Then those people who are looking for low price product or services, they will come to you. Actually, this is a strategy that you have to do with some cautions. Why? If your product is really low in quality, if regardless of your low cost or your prices, people will not use it, and actually it might even harm your reputation as well, right? So another strategy is called innovation strategy. So business organizations that go for innovation strategy always try to come up with some innovative solutions, especially using new concepts and technologies. So those are innovation. So that is called innovation strategy. For example, if you take something like Uber, they started the business with some innovative strategy. That is why they are very successful in their field, right? Right. Another strategy is called growth strategy. In growth strategy, what they try to do is they try to grow the business in a very quick or rapid manner. So when you quickly grow your business before your competitors, you have competitive advantage because you have a bigger market share, you have bigger control of the market share, and also sometimes you can sell at a lower price also because you are making a lot of profit out of the uh, market segment you are already having, right? So that is called growth strategy. Then there's another strategy called alliance strategy. That is, in this particular strategy, what we do is we try to collaborate more and more with even with your competitors to uh, grow your business. So that is called alliance strategy. So business is not all about only competition. It is mixture of competition and collaboration. So there are situations you have to collaborate, there are situations you have to compete. So in alliance strategy, you always come up with some alliances with your business partners, or collaborate with your business partners to come up tackle other competition, right? So that is alliance strategy. So there's another strategy called focus strategy. In focus strategy, what they do is they focus on one or two particular business product or service rather than concentrating so many product or so many services. So that strategy is called focus strategies. There are some examples like Pizza Hut. So they are not interested in selling so many food items. They are just concentrate on pizza and maybe just one or two supplementary items like uh, drinks and stuff like that. So there's another example we have mentioned, the Bata. So they are only concentrating on footwear industry. They are not interested in diversifying it to other areas. So their strategy is focus. So focus on one area and do that really well, rather than concentrating on so many areas and losing focus of particular aspects. Right. So those are some popular strategies like quality leadership, product differentiation, innovation, growth, alliance, focus, etc. So those are some popular strategies. So your business might pick at one strategy or some complementary or similar strategies to build their business. Now we are moving to the business tactics. So the business strategies are the high level things, tactics are the low level things which are more closer to the implementation. So usually you have to pick tactics according to your strategy, right? So tactic must not be conflicting with strategy, right? So these are some popular business tactics. So let's take one by one. One of the popular tactic is build customer focused business. So that means you try to understand what the customer really need and come up with some features or product and services with features having those customers needs. So that is called building customer focused business. In order to do that, you have to do a lot of market research, right, and analyze some data. Then only you will identify what are the real needs of the customer. Then you can come up with or you can fulfill those things. So that tactic is called building customer focused business. Another tactic is that this is very important for your exam also, that is business process reengineering or BPR. In BPR, what we do is we try to do some drastic or radical changes to the business process. So in order to do that, we usually do the reverse engineering to understand what is the business process, so what are the objectives that we try to fulfill, etc. Then we will rethink and come up with some better ways of doing those things, and we will implement those things, right? Then your business is running in a new way, right? So you can use technology, and especially information technology, to do this forward engineering part. So if you are doing that big change to the organization, we say we are doing business process re-engineering or BPR. So that is another tactic. Then another very popular tactic is improve the agility of the organization. So agility means basically flexibility. When your organization's agility is higher, it's much more easier for the organizations to do some innovations, adapt to the situations, changes, and move very quickly with the new market trends, new technologies, etc. So that is another tactic we can use to move forward your business. So let's move to another tactic that is also very popular tactic right now, that is develop virtual organizations. So rather than developing organizations based on physical infrastructures, if we can develop, or at least part of the business we can develop using virtual infrastructures, it will reduce a lot of cost and it will also create a lot of opportunities. So there are some organizations which are sort of 100% virtual organizations like eBay, Amazon, you never, right? So those are, but at least we can virtualize some of the aspects of the organization. So that is another tactic we can use, right? So another tactic we can use is improve the knowledge creation. So remember, knowledge is very important for business organizations to get that competitive advantage and improve the quality, improve the productivity, etc. So we can use that as a tactic. If your organization has a better knowledge management or better knowledge creation than your competitors, you are in a good shape. Your tactic is going to work. Okay, right. So another tactic we can use is try to outsource or offshoring and downsizing. So these three terms are related terms but three different terms. So let's take one by one. Outsourcing means some of your tasks you assign or you give it to a different organization. So for that you have to pay the service fees. But the idea is your business must concentrate on your core task only, right? So if you try to concentrate on so many things, you lose the focus. So your employees, your management lose the focus. Therefore, concentrate on your core business, outsource other tasks like software development, managing the networks, or any other things like security. Those things outsource to a different company, then they will take care of those things. You just have to pay the service charge. So that is called outsourcing. If you do that outsourcing to a foreign country or different country, we call it offshoring. So offshoring is a special case of outsourcing. Especially you can get the advantage of low labor cost or the low cost of developing countries, and also you can get the time difference of also like if you want to uh, develop something in using all 24 hours, you can have some of the people developing maybe in America, USA. Then when they go home in the evening, the development team, the rest of the development team from India or Sri Lanka, they can start working on the product in the night time of the USA or the America, right? So that is offshoring, and also it will reduce the cost also, because countries like India, Sri Lanka, we have lower wages, so they can take that as an advantage. So downsizing means basically you try to reduce your number of employees. So that is called downsizing. So that will uh, decrease the cost. So that decrease in the cost means uh, increase in the profit. But again, you have to do it in a very sensible way. Otherwise, there will be some issues like labor unrest and etc. Okay. So that those are some more tactics we can use. Right. So the final topic that we are going to discuss is, so we are done with the business strategy formulation and the business tactics. The two terms that we will be using in some other topics, later topics, are business intelligence and business analytics. So basically, business intelligence means your business or your managers or and other people must have a very good idea about what are the trends and what are the things that is happening in the not only in the business environment, within your organization also. So that concept is called business intelligence. So basically, uh, so you will be doing some business analytics also to gain that business intelligence, right? So you have to do that for internal data as well as external data. So that is called business intelligence and business analytics. So that is a subtopic related to business organization. So the successful business organization. So basically we have covered uh, the introduction to business organization part. So we discuss or we try to understand what is being by organization, what is the business organization, what is the business environment, that open nature, competitive nature, dynamic nature. Then the term competitive advantage. Then we discuss management hierarchy, organizational structures, organizational culture, what are the attributes of good organizational culture. Then we discuss about how to come up with proper business analysis using Swot analysis, so what does Phi Force analysis. And finally we discuss what are some popular business strategies and business tactics. Okay, I hope you got the big idea or the big picture, and now you have the notes. You can do your self studies and face the exam with confidence. Thank you.